from that point, we can move. So the other thing to really remember is, I see so many players where this is absolutely fixed. It's like it's nailed in place, it's glued. We drop the head, we tense up, okay? And it's glued, and it doesn't move. People say, yeah, I'm released, look, I'm moving. But they're not, they're moving like this. This should be flexible. This is like a joint, it's like this joint. You know, it's balanced. So, moving on to the final thing to really think about in terms of how we hold the instrument. I was saying that in a way, you know, if we do this, this should be where the instrument is. To me, it tends to be just below horizontal. And I know a lot of people come up to me and say they disagree, and that's fine, because we all have different ideas, and we're all correct, which is great. But for me, the idea of just dropping the instrument actually has a very good mechanical reason. And if you think about it, not everybody can do this because it depends on the height of the neck, and I know a lot of people with very long necks might not actually balance this part of the instrument on the collarbone. But in general, I think most of us would imagine balancing this here on the collarbone. So that's like your first point of contact. And then the chin rest and the shoulder rest sort of fill the gap. Okay? But if you think about it, so if I'm there pivoting there, if I raise the viola, and I'll exaggerate horribly so you can see what happens. Look what happens to this bit of the chin rest and the shoulder rest. So I'm pivoting there. If I raise it, this goes up and that goes down. So essentially, if I put the violin straight and I raise that, and this is how a lot of people hold the instrument, my tendency would be to raise the shoulder and drop the head to actually hold the instrument properly. Okay? So immediately, I have 2 points of extreme tension. I've got tension in the back of my neck, I've got tension in the shoulder. Okay? Now, it might be that there's some people believe that if you're shifting high, you want to lift the instrument, that's absolutely fine. But it shouldn't be done by gripping too much. Okay? So if you do the opposite and you're pivoting here, and I drop the instrument, again I'm going to exaggerate that way, and of course this drops onto the shoulder, and this neatly tucks in underneath the jawline, and I haven't moved my head. Okay? Now of course we're all going to move our heads slightly, but you don't want to do, I don't believe in doing this too much. Actually this is something else you could do if you just, as you're sitting there, just turn your head to the left, and just be aware of whatever tension there is. So the contraction here and extension here. There's an imbalance. There's tension. Okay? But again, a lot of players, you can stop doing that because I don't want you to get locked in. But again, when we hold the instrument, you know, yes, we tend to do a little bit of that, but if it's to extreme, again, we're putting so much tension. This really travels down the bow arm and makes this much, much harder work. Also, it means if you're too far here, you have to push the arm out to play with a straight bow. So in a sense, it's bringing everything back this way. Okay? So again, we don't want to be too far forward because we restrict the movement here, but we want to be open and free, and this should be very, very movable.